You're too damn available to women, to friends, to your job, to people who don't even respect your time. Every time you say yes too fast, you kill a piece of your masculine edge. You think being available makes you dependable, but it makes you disposable. Real power doesn't beg. Real power doesn't chase. Real power pulls, because it doesn't need to prove anything. Right now, you're not pulling anything. You're pushing people away by acting like a damn doormat. There's an epidemic. Men are addicted to accessibility. They crave replies, notifications, being needed, because they think it means they matter. But here's the truth. When you're always around, you're never respected. This video is your wake-up call. Today, I'm going to show you how to reclaim your power by withdrawing your availability. Because when you become scarce, you become valuable. And if you don't fix this now, you'll keep bleeding out energy, time, and self-respect. This stops today. Step 1. Master the delayed response rule. You want to reclaim your power? Start with this. Stop responding right away. Every time you reply instantly to a message, a call, a DM, you're saying one thing loud and clear. I have nothing more important going on. That's weakness disguised as politeness. That's neediness dressed up as attentiveness. And trust me, people can smell it, especially women, especially anyone who wants to use your time, not value it. Here's the truth. Powerful men don't rush to respond, because powerful men aren't waiting around to be contacted. They're building, thinking, creating, leading. They're occupied with purpose, not notifications. So from now on, implement the delayed response rule. It's simple. If it's not life or death, you don't respond immediately. Let the message sit. Let the call go to voicemail. Let people wait. Let them feel what it's like not to have you on call 24/7. Because when you delay your response, you create tension, mystery, gravity, and most importantly, you remind the world that your attention is earned, not assumed. This isn't about playing games. It's about communicating a deeper truth. You don't belong to anyone's agenda, but your own. When someone texts you and you respond an hour later, that's control. When your phone rings and you let it go, then return the call after you finished your workout or your deep work session, that's dominance. Because you chose when to engage. You didn't let them dictate your focus. Men who constantly check their phone like it's an oxygen tank are addicted to being wanted. But the man who knows his value doesn't chase attention, he commands it. So here's your first rule. Don't be reactive, be selective. Start with just one day. Only reply to non-urgent messages after a 2-hour delay. Then stretch it. Build the muscle. Train people to wait. Because the man who makes people wait is the man they eventually respect. Step 2. Protect your calendar like a fortress. Your time is your life. Guard it like your survival depends on it. Because it does. Every time you say yes to something meaningless, you're saying no to something powerful. And most of you give your time away like it's free samples at a grocery store. Lunch with people who don't inspire you. Meetings that lead nowhere. Social events that drain you. Then you wonder why your life isn't moving forward. It's because you're not driving it. You're drifting. You want to reclaim your masculine power. Start with your calendar. Turn it into a fortress. Build it with intention and protect it with aggression. Block off time for your workouts. Non-negotiable. Block off time for your reading, your deep work, your money-making skills, your silence. Then build walls around those blocks like your future depends on them. Because it does. Every time someone tries to interrupt your schedule with nonsense, remind yourself, every yes to them is a no to your mission. You think you're being nice, number, you're being soft, and softness in your schedule leads to softness in your results. You want to be respected. Show people that your time isn't cheap. Tell them, I'm unavailable. Tell them, let me get back to you after this block. Tell them, I'm busy building something. Because masculine men don't drift with time, they direct it. They don't hope they'll find a moment to read, to train, to strategize. They make time, then guard it with blood. That's what separates the disciplined from the distracted, the builders from the broken. Here's your move. Open your calendar. Block out the next 7 days. Input your workouts. Input your reading. Input your work sprints. Lock them down. Then start saying no to everything that doesn't align. Because if your calendar is open to chaos, your life will be too. And no man builds an empire in the middle of chaos. Step 3. Stop being a tech slave. You check your phone like a dog waiting for scraps. Every buzz, every ding, every vibration, you respond like your life depends on it. But here's the truth. You're not connected. You're controlled. You become a digital servant, a slave to group chats, emojis, and meaningless "what's up" messages. And every time you stop what you're doing to answer someone else's impulse, you break something sacred, your focus. Listen carefully. Constant communication is killing your concentration, your confidence, and your value. You don't need to be available 24/7. In fact, the more accessible you are, the less powerful you appear. Real men don't live in their inbox. They live in their purpose. You want to build something? You want respect? Start by checking your messages on your terms, not the world's. Here's the rule. Twice a day. That's it. Once in the morning, once at night. Unless it's war or something on fire, you don't pick up that phone in between. This one habit alone will multiply your productivity, discipline, and presence. Because you're no longer being pulled, you're choosing when to engage. Scarcity equals value. That's how markets work. That's how attention works. That's how men work. The man who's always around is taken for granted. The man who's hard to reach, he becomes the center of gravity. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to apologize for setting boundaries. You just need to disappear from the noise long enough for people to notice your absence, because that's when they start respecting your presence. So here's what you do next. Turn off non-essential notifications, disable read receipts, mute the noise, and reclaim your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. You weren't born to be a notification junkie. You were born to build, to lead, to dominate your space, and that requires solitude, focus, fire. Let everyone else be online zombies. You go silent and let your results do the talking. Step 4, be unavailable to the wrong people. Some people aren't friends, they're anchors. They don't lift you, they don't build you, they drain you, slowly, silently. And because you're too polite or too afraid to be alone, you keep letting them stay. Let me say this bluntly. You owe access to no one. If someone isn't helping you grow, build, or sharpen, they don't deserve your time, not your calls, not your attention, not your presence. Most men don't have a discipline problem. They have a people problem. They spend hours around losers and leeches and wonder why they feel stuck. Here's the answer. You become who you're around. And right now, you're surrounded by people who don't push you. They pull you down. Cut them off. Not with rage, not with drama, with silence, with distance, with indifference. You don't owe a warning to someone who's been wasting your time. You don't need to explain your grind to someone who's never helped you build. You're not cruel for cutting people out. You're strategic. Distance is power, and the fewer people who have access to you, the more valuable you become. The man who's always available to everyone becomes invisible, but the man who disappears from the wrong circles and shows up only in places of power, he becomes respected, remembered, feared. Here's your rule from now on. Audit your circle. Who energizes you? Who drains you? Keep the builders. Lose the vampires. Start with the obvious ones. Gossipers, drama addicts, emotional wrecks who text you paragraphs about things that don't matter. Mute, block, unfollow, walk away. No explanation needed. You're not a therapist. You're not a garbage dump. You're a man on a mission, and your mission can't afford leeches. Not everyone deserves your presence. Most haven't earned it. Make them earn it through loyalty, through effort, through shared ambition. Because when you become unavailable to the wrong people, you finally make space for the right ones to find you. Step 5. Use social silence as leverage. You want to be respected? Start by disappearing. Not permanently, not dramatically, but strategically. Here's the truth. You talk too much. You post too much. You show up everywhere like a desperate mascot trying to stay relevant. And every time you overshare, you drain the very thing that makes men powerful. Mystery. Because mystery is magnetic. When people don't know where you are, what you're thinking, or what you're planning, they become curious. And curiosity is the gateway to respect. Let me give it to you straight. The man who controls his presence controls the narrative. That's why kings don't attend every party. That's why real leaders don't explain every move. They move in silence, then shake the room when they arrive. You don't need to comment on every post. You don't need to post stories about your lunch, your gym session, your latest thought of the day. Be deliberate. Post like a man with purpose, not like a boy craving attention. Presence is a power move. Stop showing up just to be seen. Stop giving away your thoughts for free. Make people wonder what you're working on. Let them feel your silence, and then feel your impact when you finally speak. Here's how you do it. Start saying no to low-value events. Skip the circles where nothing grows. Reduce your online presence by 70%. If it's not strategic, don't post it. If it doesn't add to your image of discipline, purpose, and control, delete it. Silence breeds speculation. And when people start speculating about you, they elevate you. They assume you're building. They assume you're focused. Let them assume. Let them talk. Because when you reappear, stronger, sharper, more dangerous, they'll remember why you vanished in the first place. You're not here to be seen. You're here to be felt. That's the power of social silence. Step 6. Make women chase you, not the other way. Here's a truth most men can't handle. If you're always available to her, she doesn't respect you. She tolerates you. She doesn't admire your eagerness. She exploits it. Because desperation isn't attractive. Obsession isn't powerful. Presence without purpose is pathetic. You think giving her all your time will win her over. It won't. It just makes you forgettable, replaceable, boring. Because a man who puts a woman before his mission is a man who has no mission. And women can smell that weakness from a mile away. You want to flip the script. You want her chasing you. Stop orbiting her like a satellite. Start living like a fortress. What does that mean? It means your time is earned, not assumed. It means you're not dropping everything for every text, every snap, every "I miss you." You respond when it makes sense, not when you're summoned. You prioritize your gym session over her drama. You finish your work before returning her call. You keep her wondering what you're building instead of reassuring her 24/7. That tension, that space, that unpredictability, that's what ignites desire. Because women chase what they can't fully predict. They crave the man who's almost out of reach because he has something bigger pulling him forward. Purpose is magnetic. Desperation repels. You're not here to be her emotional support animal. You're here to build a life she wants to be part of, but never feels entitled to. That's the difference. So stop trying to win her with words. Win her with distance, with direction, with dominance over your own time. Let her feel the cold edge of your absence. Let her wonder what has your attention. Let her work for your presence. You're not a fan club, you're the fortress, and only those who prove their worth deserve to step inside. Step 7. Create focus windows daily. There's a reason you're stuck in the same place year after year. It's not because you're stupid. It's not because you lack potential. It's because you can't sit in silence and focus. You think you're productive because you're busy. But the truth? You're just distracted in high definition, scrolling, swiping, responding, chasing dopamine, hits like a rat pressing a lever for another treat. Let me introduce you to something that separates amateurs from elites. Focus windows. Every day, block off 2 to 3 hours where the world can't reach you. No notifications, no phone, no calls, no social media. Just you, your mission, and the silence to execute. This is your edge, because while every other man is bouncing between apps, group chats, and brain rot, you're getting sharper. You're going deep, and deep focus makes you elite. Here's the truth most men can't face. They're addicted to distractions because it gives them an excuse not to build, an excuse not to face themselves, an excuse to stay stuck in mediocrity and pretend they're too busy. But when you strip away the noise, all that's left is your work, your ideas, your results, and that's where the breakthrough lives. You want power, then you need isolation. You need execution. The world's loud. That's by design, because silence is where real men are forged, and silence is terrifying to weak men. But to the disciplined, it's fuel. Start small. Pick one time block, maybe 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. During that window, the outside world doesn't exist. Just you, your goals, and uninterrupted momentum. After a week, you'll notice something. You're getting more done in 2 hours than most men do in 2 days. Because focus isn't just a skill, it's a weapon. Sharpen it, guard it, use it. And while everyone else is drowning in distractions, you'll be dominating in silence. Step 8. Control access to your time, ruthlessly. You are not a free resource. You are not on demand. And you are not here to be everyone's convenient little backup plan. Every time you give your time away without standards, you send a message. My time is worthless. And when you treat it like it has no value, don't be shocked when everyone else does the same. They show up late. They cancel last minute. They make you wait. Why? Because you trained them to believe your time is cheap. That ends now. You want to step into real masculine control. Start charging people for access, not just financially, emotionally, energetically, strategically. Make them earn your attention. Stop giving instant access to everyone who wants a piece of you. Use words that set boundaries without explanation. I'll get back to you when I can. I don't do last minute. Let me check my schedule. Short, director, final. The minute you stop dropping everything for everyone else is the minute you start rebuilding your power. You reclaim your presence. You regain your dignity. Because now you're moving from reaction to selection. Every minute you spend is an investment. So start asking yourself, is this person giving me a return, or are they draining the account? When someone wants your time, they should bring value with them. Ideas, solutions, momentum. Not chaos, not gossip, not useless small talk. You're building something serious. And serious builders don't open the gates for everyone. They guard their calendar like a king guards his throne room. Because time isn't just a resource, it's your lifeblood. And if you don't protect it, someone else will use it for their purpose, not yours. So from this point forward, be ruthless, be selective, be unapologetic. Let the world adjust to your standards, not the other way around. Step 9. Withdraw validation and approval. Here's a hard truth. You don't need to be liked. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you start winning. Most men today are trapped in approval addiction. They say what people want to hear. They nod when they disagree. They reply to every message, not because they care, but because they're afraid of being disliked. That fear, that's what's making you weak. Every time you say sorry just to smooth things over, when you're not actually sorry, you give away an inch of your power. And inch by inch, you become a man shaped by other people's comfort zones. Stop it. You weren't born to be agreeable. You weren't built to be palatable. You're here to be grounded, unshakable, and respected. And respect doesn't come from being liked. It comes from setting boundaries and standing on them. Powerful men don't chase validation. They don't explain themselves just to keep the peace. They don't dilute their message so nobody feels offended. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your energy, your standards, or your time. If someone gets upset that you didn't reply fast enough, show up, or say what they wanted to hear, that's their problem, not yours. You want to command respect, then stop pandering for approval. Start withholding unnecessary validation. Don't compliment just to fit in. Don't laugh when the joke isn't funny. Don't apologize when you've done nothing wrong. People will test your boundaries, especially when they're used to controlling you with guilt or emotion. But if you hold the line, something powerful happens. They stop pushing. They start adapting. Because deep down, everyone respects the man who doesn't bend. So from now on, stop responding for approval. Start responding from alignment. Not to keep the peace, but to keep your power. Remember, your silence says more than a fake sorry ever will, and your presence will be 10 times louder when it isn't trying to be liked, only respected. Step 10. Make yourself so busy. Winning, you can't be reached. This is the final stage, the highest form of masculine power. You become hard to reach, not because you're avoiding people, but because you're building something so powerful, you don't have time for noise. This is what separates the boys from the men. Not how loud you talk, not how many followers you have, but how deeply you're locked in on the mission. While the rest of the world is busy chasing attention, let everyone else scroll, refresh, and entertain themselves into oblivion. You become addicted to the grind, to creation, to growth, to strategy, to becoming a weapon in mind, body, and spirit. Your life becomes so purpose-driven that distractions can't survive in your atmosphere. You don't return every call, not because you're rude, but because you're disciplined. You don't reply to every message, not because you're ignoring people, but because you're in flow. People start noticing. They feel the shift. They feel your absence. And then they hear about your results. And suddenly, the same people who once took your time for granted, now they have to rise to your level just to reach you. Because when you're truly locked in, you stop chasing recognition. You become the recognition. Your results speak louder than any story you could post or caption you could write. So stop trying to be everywhere. Stop trying to please everyone. Stop being available to anyone who hasn't earned the right to interrupt your grind. Build something so big that your silence becomes legendary. Be so obsessed with your evolution that people wonder where you went until they see what you became. This is the goal. A life so focused, you're rare. And when you're rare, you're respected. The man who is always available is never valued. Let that sink in. If you hand out your time like candy, don't act shocked when people treat it like trash. Your time is your sword. Your energy is your currency. Your presence is your power. And if you give all of it away for free, you'll wake up one day wondering why no one respects you. The answer is simple. You trained them not to. But now, that ends. Reclaim your hours. Reclaim your attention. Reclaim your presence. Because the man who controls these controls everything. If you're done being walked over, then vanish. Not out of weakness, but out of strategy. Withdraw. Build in silence. Move with intention. Speak with results. Make your presence felt without having to beg for it. Like this video if it slapped you awake. Subscribe if you're ready to become untouchable. And share this with the next man who needs to stop playing small. But most of all, live this. Let the world feel your absence before they ever get the privilege of earning your presence.